Hey guys, this is Emma. I for sure missed getting to see you guys and hang out with y'all, but I'm super excited that y'all joined us tonight. And it's a couple ways that you guys can stay connected is through our YouTube channel, which is just Southbridge Students, and there you'll just find various videos and our Sunday night YouTube premieres. Also on Wednesday nights from 7 to 8:30, we're doing virtual small groups, and you can just play games, hang out with each other, and walk through some scripture with one another. And something else that's really cool that we're doing is daily devotionals on the YouVersion Bible app. And something I find very cool about that is you can interact with each other on what you feel like the Lord was teaching you through the scripture. And and you can find out more information about all of this on the Southbridge Students website.
Hey, I just wanted to start this video with a question. Have you ever pulled an all-nighter because you had so much schoolwork that you just had to cram it all in that night? Maybe your teacher gave you a midterm and a quiz, and then another teacher had a paper, and so it's midnight the night before, you just finished studying or whatever, you just remembered you had it due, let's all be real. And you are like, I've got 8 hours, it's an 8-page paper, 1 page an hour, I can do this. I'm gonna pull an all-nighter. And while I am in no way endorsing this as a healthy, profitable habit, it was definitely something that I defaulted to, especially in college, and even some in seminary and a couple times in high school. It's just something that kind of happens with school, right? And so when I would do my all-nighters, I always had my methods, right? I would always, number one rule is never, ever pull an all-nighter in your own house or in your own bedroom especially, because if you do, you're going to fall asleep. If you like, oh, I'll just lay on the couch for an hour, 10 hours later, your paper's late, you miss class, never do that. The other thing is, like, you got to think about, what do you eat during this all-nighter? Do you eat? I used to just cram, you know how much I love Mountain Dew, just cram Mountain Dew, candy, all that helped, but then all of a sudden I'd be like, oh, midway through the night, I wouldn't do it. And I actually figured out the real solution was to drink water and eat healthier things. But I'm not here to talk about all-nighters, but I want you guys to picture that feeling you get when you have that sense of urgency of like, I've got to pull an all-nighter, otherwise I won't get this done, I'm going to fail my class, fail out of school, whatever that is. Right, that feeling that you get. And where does that feeling come from? Right, it comes from an overwhelming sense of us being out of control in this moment. And for us right now, as we're dealing with the coronavirus, and there's so much that feels out of our control. And that overnighter is our one last hurrah as trying to say, how can we maintain control of the situation? 1 page an hour, boom, done, I fixed it. But there's certain things in life that we just can't handle. And I want to ask you, where have you been turning to in the light of all of this situation, that anxiety you feel before the all-nighter, that anxiety we feel from our current place in history of wondering who's going to get sick, is my parent going to lose his job? Where do you turn? And I want to challenge you guys. We're doing this series called Download. I want to challenge you to turn to God and see what you would have download from Him. Because what God is trying to say to you matters, and I want you to hear from Him. So today we're going to dive into Psalm 83 and read, what does it look like for us to cry out to God in a moment like this? Verse 1 says, O God, do not be silent, do not be deaf, do not be quiet, O God. Asaph is the guy who wrote this, and he wrote this at a time when armies were crashing in around Israel. But he's sitting there crying out to God, where are you? And I know many of us are wondering that in this moment. Maybe your dad lost his job. God, are you deaf? My family needs that. Maybe you're a senior and you're disappointed that you won't get to graduate the same way, or you're going to miss a trip, or your favorite sport or your sports teams are not getting to play all their games, or all of those things, right? That disappointment. God, where are you in this? Maybe you had a bad family situation and now it's worse because everybody's home all the time. God, where are you? Cry out to God. This is what Asaph was doing. He was being surrounded by evil, and there's two types of evil in the world. There's moral evil, like the people who are attacking him, but then there's just natural evil in the world. And this natural evil comes from the fall. The fall is when humanity essentially decided that we think we know better than God, so we're going to go our own route. And what that's led to is this destruction and this brokenness in this world. And Asaph is crying out to God, we're in a broken world, but you are a good God. Come heal us. Come save us. Come rescue us. I can't take an all-nighter to fix this. I don't know what to do. And so we're in this moment where we need to cry out to God. The reason we can cry out to God is because God can relate to us. God came down as a man named Jesus, and when he came, he started bringing his kingdom. Jesus always said, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. And when Jesus went around, he called out people's sin, their hypocrisy, their moral evil that we were talking about. But not only did he do that, he went around and he touched the sick, and instead of him getting sick, they were healed. And God was restoring Eden. And Jesus died so that we could have that restoration of relationship. And in his death, he called his followers to start bringing his kingdom with him. And so you and me, if you're a follower of Christ, Christ has called us to be a part of his kingdom and to bring that into the world where there's so much darkness, there's so much natural evil going around right now, so much bad things. And God has called us to go be his people, his church, empowered by his Spirit to go out and love people and care for people. But we can't do that unless we're rooted in him. And we're sitting there and we're getting downloads of what he wants us to do. How do we respond to this moment? And we can't even do that unless we're actually talking to him and crying out to him. If you read the last verse in this psalm, it says, "Then they will learn that you alone are called the Lord, that you alone are the Most High and supreme over all the earth. Then they will know that you are the King of all the earth, that you are the Creator, if you do these things, God." I want to challenge you guys. Cry out to God. Ask him to make himself known to you, but also to the people around you. We're about to break off into groups, but let me pray first. Lord, I just want to thank you for every student who's tuning into this, and I just ask that you would calm them in this anxiety and then that you would draw them closer to you as we are all struggling with what do we do in this moment. I pray that you would reveal yourself and that we would pursue you. We love you and are so grateful for what you did for us on the cross. Amen.